everyone, welcome back to Rebecca's Colouring Arts and Crafts. So today I'm going to continue with Johanna Basford's Magical Jungle. I almost said Millie Marotta, but it's Johanna Basford. I was going to take the time to show this paper is causing the bending of the tooth again. It's happened on multiple pages now, so I'm assuming it's something to do with just the way the paper is, and for me also I guess the amount of colours I'm using as well, but it seems to be particularly happening near the spine in all my images so that I do it on, so I'm sort of going it's probably part the paper, part me, so because yeah, it is sort of not a really thick paper but not a really thin paper, but with the amount of pencil colours I use in it. These books typically aren't meant to have a whole heap of paper, probably a whole heap of colours put on them probably, but yeah, probably for the future I would have been better trying to put this onto shall we say print it onto like a firmer quality paper, because this quality paper just doesn't seem to hold up to what I like to do. So I guess that sort of depends on the person doing it as to how it works, but for me I think it's sort of part that the paper isn't sort of thick enough, but also and the fact that it sort of does bubble near the spine and sit sort of oddly near the spine, and just also just how the book is, but also the amount of colours I use. But yeah, well, what can you do about it? I don't know that I'm going to be able to colour the back image on this one or not. I was kind of hoping to, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to now with the way the paper's buckled, so it's not nearly as bad over the areas that aren't near the spine or the centre of the book though, so that makes me think that it is part the paper and the way the paper's sitting in the book, which is why I say that. But yeah, anyway, today I'm going to start a bit onto our background here, and obviously some of these little areas I've put in may have to be erased a bit as I put the colours down. We shall have to see, but I'm intending on starting on our backgrounds. I think maybe I might not use that darker blue colour just because it's going to blend in too much with our darkish leaves here. So I'm going to start here with my Fabercastell Polychromos Delft Blue, and obviously some of these areas will need erasing because they are quite a bit darker, but other areas I'm just going to sharpen this pencil first. And I just want to bring that one down here and create our pencil, trying to keep our board or paper or whatever right wedged into the spine area. I am just going to bring in my eraser quickly to erase some of these lines just faintly where I can get to them. Obviously I can't get to them everywhere because they're right in on the spine, so we just have to do the best we can. See, all these areas I can't actually get to because they're right on the spine, so we just have to work around that. Just trying to get rid of all the eraser parts. And there's also going to be some parts where it will be shadows behind it, but in some of these other areas I'm just going to go around the trees and that first, and then I'm going to bring in our shadow patterns and make it look a bit more leafy, that sort of thing. But first I kind of want to just outline these areas, make sure that we are going around the spots that need it, because obviously some of these leaves would have background behind them, and fill in areas as best we can to cover over that pencil line as we go too. since we couldn't erase it all just due to the space. So I'm not sure, I think other than down here, which I just went over an area that I didn't want to go over. Particularly, I wasn't trying to go over that area, it just accidentally happened kind of thing. Just want to make sure those areas are filled in, but we've still got our tree trunk showing there. So I'm just going to do a patch of this, and then I'll obviously continue the other bits off camera. I just want to show you roughly how I do the background so you can also do it, and then, yeah, as said, continue it off camera. So I'm not sure how much of these sections will be done on camera. I know there's not a huge heap of space, but yeah, part of it will be done on camera anyway and part off camera and blah blah blah, but there is bits that I can try to erase, but no matter how much I try to erase some areas, they're going to be too close to the spine, so I'm not going to be able to get them all fully erased anyway. So now what I want to do is I want to come in with this Delft Blue, and I want to start bringing in some like little shadow tones, like just, I guess, alternating it a bit so that we've got like a bit of a bokeh type thing. Not necessarily bokeh, I was thinking of that, but then I thought that would be too detailed. But I just want to sort of create some swirls and patterns and like there's gaps in the trees and those sorts of things. So I do. And we will need to create a bit more depth in these as we can as we go, but yeah, we'll make it work. I'm just going to just sort of randomly do like swirly sort of areas and bring them in on each other and stuff like that as I can. Well, what I mean by bring it in on each other is these patterns here. If I had more of an open space behind it, I would possibly bring in a bit more purple. Say, I might even do a little bit of purple just here. So like we're sort of coming in and around each other and wrapping around each other like the leaves, and like a night sky would do, I guess you could say. And we want to make sure that we leave room for our blending our next colours, so I want to just bring that in here, and then I'm going to bring this up a little bit into here just because we've got this area here, and bring it around. So we're kind of just swirling it all around each other in different directions, I guess you could say. It's not particularly a leafy looking background, I guess, but it's kind of, I guess I want it to look a bit like a night sky kind of background with a bit of like galaxy sort of stuff happening. So that's my goal with it anyway. It is And we're just swirling them all sorts of random ways because I want to try and create a bit of a galaxy style effect behind it if I can. I do. And then we just want to bring in a bit of a light shadow just around each of these areas. Not really thick or wide, just light around it. Or trying to be as light as we can. Because I got a sharper point pencil, it doesn't always work out coming out as light as you want it to. So just do the best we can. We'll make it work. We will. So I'm just going to start with this little section first, see how long this takes me, and then depending on the amount of time this takes me, I will move on to other sections. Who knows, we may get the whole background bit done in our time frame, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just going to start with this little bit first and then move on from there. So next, what I want to do is I want to bring in my Fabercastell Polychromos Blueish Turquoise, and I want to bring that completely over our purple or Delft Blue. And like, I just want to get the colours down first, and then I can bring in swirls into the galaxy areas and stuff like that. So I just want to get these first original layers down, and then I can work on sort of creating more colours and textures and stuff in the actual galaxy areas. So the reason why I decided not to use like a darker blue or a blacky blue is just because I didn't want these leaves to just completely blend into the background. And I'm just going to need to pause for a minute and sort Lils out because she's barking at the neighbours again. So I will be back in a minute. So I'm back. I just ended up having to get Lils in and she's gone straight into her bed. Bit of a snort and yeah, grunt and that sort of thing. And then we also want to try, if we can, to get a little bit of light shadow area around where this blue goes for blending in our next colour, because we want to try and avoid definite lines just yet till we add in the rest of our galaxy areas, and we've still got 2 more colours we're trying to fit in, so try to leave space for those. I'm also, just because we got the shadow of the tree here, I'm just doing that as a bit of a shadow area as well. But I'm also aiming to leave space and room for our other 2 colours yet. I don't know if I'm explaining this exactly right, but I'm trying to do the best I can with it. Let's just switch the position a bit here so that I can try and access this a bit easier. One, two. It's not going to work that way. It's not, unfortunately. So I'm going to try and get our paper here. I was trying to avoid going on the colours that we've already done. Bummer, there goes the pencils rolling. Stupid things. Hate when they do that. So yeah. Try to make sure that's as snug in there as possible because we want to try and avoid too much damage to the tooth of the paper. And it's not because of the card that I'm using that's making it bubble, it's just the way the book's bound as well. It is, and as a result, that bubbling of the paper I've noticed does affect how the tooth of the paper sits when you go and colour along those areas. So yeah, it's just my experience anyway. Might be different for others, but it's just my experience just because of the amount of colours I like to use and things I like to do and all of that happens. In my mind anyway. But yeah, I think that is partly just too because I do notice it bubbles a lot more close to the spine area than out further from the paper. So that's why I think it's part the paper and the way it's bound or printed as well. So, but yeah, enough of that. I've probably said that enough times now. That's just my opinion though. So as you can tell, we're starting to get little bits of swirly areas in there. Like, it's not really large or huge areas, but it's little areas, and I really like that. And I'll probably try adding in some other patterns or colours depending on how I like it once I've got all the other colours in. And so let's check the time. So I just need to pause for a minute because I've just remembered something I need to do, and I will be back. So hey everyone, we're back. So now what I want to do is I want to come in with my Fabercastell Polychromos Emerald Green, and I want to sharpen it obviously. And then I want to bring this over all our other colours, as well as a bit down into here, but we're trying to leave space for one final colour. So I'm not particularly worrying about the elephant having a shadow behind it, but the tree, because it's in the background, I more want to keep the shadow there because it's in the background, but the elephant is more in the foreground, so I'm not really worried about having to have the shadow reflecting on the elephant there. And we want to bring this colour in. We're obviously going to leave a little bit of light shadows for our final colour, but we want to bring this in just over all these previous colours. And I may not even need to add other colours into these areas because it's looking really good as it is. So it is. A little bit of light shadows around there again. And we're just repeating that with all these little areas. And I hope it's properly focused. So I just wanted to double check that. Checking on these areas, I'm trying to make sure that I don't go and burst through the paper where it's sort of hitting the edge of the cardboard. So I've got it shoved right in there, but it still sort of does hit the edge of the cardboard. It does. Whoops, I went over areas that I wasn't intending to go over there. I went over some of our little leaves that we drew in and added without meaning to, so whoops. A little bit of light shadow. And then lastly, what we want to do is we want to come in with my Fabercastell Polychromos light Phthalo green. And I'm just going to bring that in, not over all areas, but just over our light areas. So we just want to bring that into these areas where we've got our little light shadow spaces. And that is the start of our background. So yeah, I think I will show you some more. I was just tossing up whether I show you some more of this background that we do. Maybe I'll just show a little more patch up around the back of the elephant or something. I've just got to think about it and work it out, and then I will be back and we'll keep going here with our background. So I will be back shortly. So hey everyone, I'm back. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to continue the same as what we did before for this bit. I'm just going to do a little bit more for this section here, and then depending, I might leave it at that, I'll see. But we just want to bring in our Fabercastell Polychromos Delft Blue and not just go dropping it everywhere. And we want to bring that in around these leaves. I want to just, it's not going to erase too well up there. I don't want to erase the other colour. So I just want to do that, and then I'm going to bring it down, highlight this section of our elephant, and obviously we will highlight our branches and leaves and all that. I've coloured fully in this bit because I'm going to basically have that bit as our darker sort of area, but I will add some curves and patterns to that. So we want to add those in, and then we're also going to just have a little purple lumpy bit here. So I'm just going to bring our I think I'm just going to bring it down like that with our purple. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to go about this. I'm just trying to work it out because I kind of don't want to have, I still want the effect that I've got here all over this area, but at the same time I kind of do want some shadowy bits down here too, so I'm just trying to think where I roughly want them. So I think what I might do is try doing some little shadow areas kind of thing. Bring this down here. Bring this, there's our Delft Blue here. So I'm gonna do, yeah, that'll work. That'll work, how we got it. So I'm just trying to work this out as I go. It's just playing it and judging it how you might like it to be or look or any of that. It is, pretty much. And obviously some of these areas would be connected except they're just behind the elephant. Some areas aren't so connected, but in this area I'm going to try and sort of connect it a bit more. So we do want shadows along where we've got our flowers and leaves and all of that, just because. Obviously some of these areas will be filled in as we go with our other colours. Oh, with our swirly bits, shall we call it? Swirly galaxy type bits. And I've still got to decide yet if I'll add stars or not, because I'm not sure if I'm going to add stars yet. I'll probably do tests off camera before I work out if I'm going to add stars or not in, and probably if I do it, it'll probably be the very last thing that I do so that I'm not rubbing off any of the pencil colours or any of that. And I think for this we're going to just bring her up and down. Bring this one out here. So I'm sort of, I guess, because there's not a lot of space and there would be a lot of shadows, I'm more filling this spotting with our shadows, I guess you could say. I am. So I'm going to fill this bit in with shadows too. And I think I'm going to sort of bring this bit out more like this, just to give us that interesting different kind of texture, or not texture but different sort of pattern. As for here, we're going to bring this up and around. So we're sort of trying to, I guess, I'm just playing it by ear and just doing it how I think it would look nice. You don't have to follow this exactly with the shapes that I'm doing it. You can use it to help you as a reference or a guide, but it's just sort of following your gut instinct, which is what I'm doing, where I think that patterns or shapes will work, and obviously once we've done it, well, it is what it is kind of thing, but it's always good to follow your gut sometimes because it can be a really good instinct to follow. It can. So as you notice, I'm trying to create bits of purple on either side because I sort of want my, like, it's not really galaxy, maybe it's, oh, that could be what I could do. Rather than doing stars, I don't know if I will do stars, but I'm going to turn it into kind of like an aurora borealis type effect kind of thing that you see happening. That's what I want to do. That's kind of what it reminds me of. I knew it reminded me of something, but I couldn't think what for the life of me. Now I remember. So that's awesome. And here I'm going to bring it down into this area because we've obviously got some of this green going down here, and since I'm doing like an aurora borealis style effect, I kind of want to try and bring it down into those areas if I can. And then we want to fill in these areas that need filling in around our tree leaves. More of our Delft Blue there. So I kind of like how that's coming out. Like, I think down here I'll probably continue some bits off camera after this. I just wanted to show you another little section just so that you can sort of follow it yourself. It's basically just using your gut to tell you where you think you want the patterns to go or all of that, and you can sort of follow what I've done as well if you want to, as to roughly where you put your shapes and patterns and curves and stuff to create your aurora borealis effect. Like, I know it's not streaky per se, but some aurora borealis bits don't always have the streaky bits looking streak lines on them, so yeah. Just so that we've got those little areas for our future, like, because there would be a little bit of a shadow even though they're in the foreground. I just want to have that bit there. I didn't do it too much around this area here, but I just decided, well, I would for this, with some of these top bits, but these bits over here, yeah, well, I've done it for those now. I've just realised I wasn't actually doing it over the elephant, so around the elephant, because the elephant's even more in the foreground than the others. But yeah, well, I can just work these ones as they are and work the others as they are. It'll all work out fine. It'll all work out fine. And then we just want to make sure that we've got our little bits of light shadows around where our Delft Blue does sort of poke out in our shapes. But it does kind of fit in some of those areas a bit anyway. But yeah. Here you go, Lils. She's sleeping at the moment. So next, what we want to do is we want to bring in our bluish turquoise, and as we did before, we want to bring that over all of our Delft Blue. Trying not to go over other areas that we don't want to. And making sure we leave space for our final couple of colours. A little bit of light shadow around each of our Delft Blue or Blueish Turquoise. I'm getting confused now. So I'm just going to do each of these areas and I'll come back and add our little light shadows around each of the areas. I will. Lils is snoring. Excuse me. A little bit of blue around that area. Excuse me. Oops, I might have gone a little bit over one of those bluish coloured leaves, or the tealy coloured, or the blacky greeny purpley leaves, whichever you'd call it. There are many colours, so yeah. And one of the colours we're using is one of the colours that I used for that, so I'm able to fix up little bits when I notice they've rubbed off a little bit or anything. And then the last little bit of our turb watercolour, bluish, what is it called again? Delft Blue. I'm getting confused because I'm using so many different colours at times. Now we want to just do a little bit of light shadow area around these areas to allow for blending our next colour. We do. This one I think is a bit skinnier than the last lots that we did. I think I've made it a bit skinnier by accident, but we'll make it work. So anyway, I'm just going to pause there with the camera because we're getting close to time, and then I'll come back next with our next colour. And yeah, it was focused, I was just double checking. So yeah, I will be back shortly. So hey everyone, I'm back. So I'm going to do my last two colours now this time, and then I think I'm going to go and keep working on this off camera. So my last two colours that I'm going to bring in, well, second last colour I'm going to bring in is my Fabercastell Polychromos Emerald Green. And we want to bring that, leaving space for our final colour as well, as best we can. But we want to bring that over all our previous colours. and just little bits of light sources between little light shadows, not light sources, light shadows. We want to bring this out showing a bit if we can, as well with our green. I'm sorry, I think I'm going to have to pause for a minute, so I don't want to, but I just feel like, no, I'll just keep going. I thought I was going to have to pause for a minute because I was starting to get a bad case of the burps. So, yeah, I think I'll be alright. We're just adding in our emerald green into these areas that we still need to add it in. We've still got to obviously add it into all our shadow area bits in most spots, but we'll work on it, keep working on it, and we'll get there. And we want little light shadow areas for blending with areas that we still need to add our next colour. Trying not to fill in all these spaces. Obviously being so skinny it's going to be hard not to, but we just do our best kind of thing. Maybe it's not as thick as an Aurora would be, but I still think it looks good anyway. I do. Could be lightning too. I guess that's another option as well. Not just an Aurora, it could be lightning as well. So you could have a thunderstorm raging in the background. I like that idea actually. Yeah, that works even more because the squiggle areas are so thin and skinny. It works even better than like an Aurora Borealis or whatever, because the Auroras tend to have thicker lines, so from what I've seen in pictures. So this kind of works better in that aspect, being lightning. It does. So I've still got a bit of over in here to add this emerald green into yet, as well as finishing those last couple of little spots, but we will get there. I haven't forgotten them. I haven't. I haven't. So now we want to just finish off our last little sections. We do. And then lastly, I'm just touching up quickly one of these leaves a bit. Lastly, I want to come in with my Fabercastell Polychromos Light Phthalo Green, and I think I forgot to say that with the other bit, but I'll put it in the tags because I'm pretty certain I forgot to say it on camera. So whoops, apologies for that, but we just want to bring that in just in our last little section and onto our emerald green. We don't want to bring it into any of the other spots. We don't. And so I think I'm going to leave it at that for this part. I'll work on the rest of it off camera. And I really hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please leave a like, subscribe, comment. I always love hearing from you. And I really hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye!